So let's jump into unfollow, which is where we're supposed to be anyway. So the first thing you want to do is you want to enable that. Now with unfollow, I don't recommend you unfollowing more than 50 people a day. So you want to keep this under 50. Okay, and the reason why is because it really does some research when it looks for people to unfollow. And the reason why is it looks at how active they are. So you want to make sure that you select all these, the additional information here. So let's just start at the beginning here. The timeouts, you're already familiar with that. How many you want to unfollow? Between 20 and 40 is the standard default. Do you want to unfollow users? Do you want to unfollow boards? Do you want to unfollow non-performance people? And hours since you followed. In other words, how many hours do you want to go by before you actually unfollow this person to find out that that person is not active, or that person doesn't even pin on your board, so that person doesn't even look at your information? Normally you want to give it some time. So 120 hours is probably on the low end, which is okay for beginners, but I kind of put this out to 500 hours or something like that. And the reason why is if you've had if you have an aged board and you have a lot of followers, you just want to make sure that you're giving the followers that have 120 hours that aren't active an opportunity to do something within 500 hours, and then those that are 500 hours without active. If you're not going to do anything in 500 hours, you're not going to do anything. So I'm going to take you out, put 500 there, and that's it. And then you can run this on autopilot if you want it to run every day. And then you set your board criteria. Who is it that you want to unfollow? Their board has between such and such. Normally people want to unfollow the low numbers because those are the people that aren't really being active. So they'll put a low number in here. Some people might want to put a high number. I don't know. I don't know why they'd want to put a high number, but the low numbers are typically who people go after, and those are the people that just basically don't spend any time on your board. But you need to remember that there are people out there that spend a ton of time, looking at information, but they won't repin your information. They won't like or comment on your information. However, they will look at your information, but they're just not, participating. So those are the people pretty much that have the higher numbers, and so you might want to keep that in mind. So you set your board criteria if that's what you want to do, and then you'll just go from there. There's not really much more to this than that. In addition to that, you can also, like I said before, you can set this up to just do a campaign that's just for unfollowing. So remember, your campaign's up here. You can go ahead and play with these and do whatever it is you like. Because you can set a campaign for each one of these, or you can set a campaign for all of them, or you can set different campaigns for just a number of them. But anyway, that's what you want to keep in mind with the unfollow. Like I said before, there's not really a whole lot to this because it's very similar to follow, so you just want to keep that in mind when you're setting this up. The unfollow feature is an important feature as you become extremely popular, and you really want to drill down on getting your board set up perfect, because you don't want to have you're following 5,000 people but you only have 390 followers. You just really need to clean that up. You want to make sure that your board looks nice and people are saying, wow, he's got a lot of followers, but he's following about the same amount of people. That's okay, but if you're following 3 times the amount of people that are actually following you, something's wrong, and you need to pay attention to that. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to our next one, which is going to be comments in the next series. Thanks.